Hello and welcome to LeeLive. Oh wait, is it on? Waiting for broadcast to be published. I wish it would tell me when exactly it was live. There we go. We're live. Welcome to LeeLive with my new sort of a arrangement here, or at least my attempted arrangement. It's not difficult to adjust the size of my face here, but I have decided that I probably should do that more often because I don't always need to be showing off articles or playing footage in the background. So yeah, there will be times where I'll just make my face larger and maybe show something off. Let's see, like so. Oh, look at this! It's One Punch Man, and now it's bigger. So yeah, that'll be nice. That'll be something of interest. All right, so we have a bit of news today, a bit of notable news, very notable news, in fact, in that Nintendo boss Reggie Fils-Aimé joins GameStop's board of directors. What? What? At a time when GameStop needs change. What GameStop needs is to go out of business. I cannot stress this enough. Let me get this out of the way first. What I think should happen to GameStop. GameStop is an absolute sham of a company. Should no longer continue to exist. Has no purpose to exist. Has done nothing good for video games since its inception. I think since they got rid of GameCube games, I think that was when I started really going hard against them. And it wasn't that long ago. That was in, like, what, 2010? Like, it was around the time Pokemon Soul Silver came out. I think that was the last group of GameCube games I bought from there. Was Pokemon Soul Silver, Rogue Squadron, and Rogue Squadron 2 and 3. Yeah, wow. Has it really been 10 years since Rogue Squadron 2? I bought Rogue Squadron 2 and 3, and I still haven't finished either of them. Well, finished. I haven't 100% of them. I'm getting back on that. I love the Rogue Squadron games. The original is my favorite. But, oh man, GameStop has been an absolute joke for the longest time. And people, including myself, are counting down the days until they go bankrupt and are out of our lives in general. I cannot wait to take a photo of a closed up GameStop, my local closed up GameStop, when it finally happens, and posting it to social media. I am so very much looking forward to that because I've had nothing but bad experiences with GameStop, with their terrible employees, with their attitudes, with just their policies, the games they promote, the games they shill, their involvement with Game Informer, which is like my personal least favorite gaming magazine of all time. I see Game Informer as being a huge part of why the Dreamcast was treated the way it was, and why Nintendo is constantly being damage controlled by the media, why no one is willing to admit their success story. So that is why I am disgusted that this man, has decided to join their ranks, to take a stand and try to save GameStop. Reggie Fils-Aimé is joining GameStop in a last-ditch effort to save them. Now, I haven't talked a lot about Reggie Fils-Aimé retirement because I really don't care. Like, he's no longer a part of Nintendo. He was basically just a corporate shill for Nintendo of America. He wasn't working on the games. I didn't really see him as anything more than a face for Iwata and what the others were telling him in Japan were telling him to do. Like, I didn't have any problem with Reggie. Far from it, in fact. I found him quite likable. But he didn't actively work on the games, and so I don't really I'm not really missing him now that he's gone. Surprisingly so, considering how popular he was back in the day. But Reggie announced his retirement from video games. Like, my expectation, if he had just done that, like if he had just gone to the sidelines, gone away, stopped talking about video games, stopped being involved with them, stopped being in the industry, like, I would have completely understood. I cannot wait to retire from my day job, right? I cannot wait to go full in on like the full-time novelist thing. I can't wait for that to happen. I cannot wait. And I was expecting Reggie to sort of be chilling in the background. Like I know he legitimately likes Animal Crossing and some Nintendo franchises, and I was expecting him to like still be involved in the community, like maybe attending some events, maybe talking about like Nintendo and what he's playing now. What I didn't really expect, going into this, was that he would continue working in the gaming industry. I did not think he would join a board of directors for GameStop, of all companies. He's done other things too. I can't remember what the other thing he did that annoyed me. It had something to do with like a Chinese gaming, I think, trying to get... it's some kind of like organization. I don't remember what that was, but it's some group, right? And now he's working for GameStop. Reggie went and joined the enemy, essentially. He essentially went to the dark side. Let me see here. Can I pull up a Darth Vader clip? He essentially went to the dark side. Oops. Let's see. Wait a minute. Ah, well, that's too generic. If you only knew the power of the dark side. Apparently, Reggie just sort of decided that, you know what? I know GameStop has fucked me over. I know GameStop is a propaganda machine to hype up non-Nintendo products. I know they're corrupt. I know they're like insidious as fuck. I know they have no reason to be in business, but I am going to join their board of directors anyway, in spite of how unpopular they are and everything else. Like, I am going to join GameStop and help them try to succeed, and that, to me, is a disgrace. Reggie Fils-Aimé is officially in disgrace. He has done something to alienate me. There is no justification for helping out GameStop. Like, no, just let the company die. We don't need GameStop, in spite of what you said in your tweet. I am not going to support them. I'm not going to, like, change my mind on that. GameStop is pure trash. And, wow, it's been a year already. All right, so I guess I could read this article aloud for you guys here. Reggie Fils-Aimé stepped down as Nintendo of America president in February 2019. It's been a whole year. Set on retiring and relaxing after more than a decade on the role. That relaxation period has come to an end, however, with Fils-Aimé set to join GameStop's board of directors at a time when the gaming retail chain could use some much-needed guidance. GameStop has undergone big changes as its quarterly revenue and stock continue to deteriorate. Stock? I think everything is deteriorating right now, but let's not get into that. Part of that includes pivoting to being more than a physical games retailer. Yeah, that's the thing that's sticking out to me about GameStop is that their business model of like selling used games, buying used games back and selling them at inflated prices, it's not going to be practical anymore in a age of digital distribution. Like, everyone is buying like cheap games on eShop sales. Like, I bought a copy of The Last of Us for like $5 on PSN. No one's buying like their overpriced shit in their stores anymore. So what they're trying to do, or what they've tried to do, is like try to branch out into a merchandise thing. And I've heard rumors that they are trying to become a gaming cafe, like a gaming internet cafe, which might actually theoretically work. They're going to have to change everything, but we'll have to see. And it might actually be good for them. But like again, as long as their game store aspect goes down. Selling products like Funko Pop toys and geek-related apparel, their stuff is terrible, by the way. The company is also reportedly laying off mid-level managers and employees in an attempt to cut costs, according to Polygon. Ooh, yeah, I think the girl at my GameStop got fired. Ooh. According to Polygon, Fils-Aimé will hopefully help GameStop figure out its next steps as it tries to remain relevant and successful in an increasingly digital world. Soon the Digimon will take over. The gaming industry needs a healthy and vibrant GameStop. Fizame tweeted, I look forward to being a part of GameStop board and helping to make this happen. So I didn't make that up. He really did say that. Like, this isn't bullshit. Like, he really did say that. The gaming industry needs a healthy and vibrant GameStop. I look forward to being a part of GameStop and helping to make this happen. Ridiculous. We don't need GameStop. I just got through ranting about that. Wait a minute. Where does he go? Fizame joins the board with two others, William Simon and James Simonak. Simon was the former CEO of Walmart, and Simonak is the current CEO and president of PetSmart. Wait, what? You can be CEO of multiple companies? Well, I guess they're not CEOs of GameStop. Yeah. Their appointments come in wake of board members Dan DiMatteo, Gerald Sigabatsky, Larry Salavi, and Steve Koonin stepping down. Yeah. So basically what's been happening is that like GameStop has been doing so badly that they've had like a revolving door of like upper management. Like, you know, like this is not the first time their board has been replaced. Like people, I've heard, Review Tech USA made a video about this. I've heard that one of the guys was in there for like 3 months before like, no, I can't do this anymore. So yeah, they know how bad this is looking. Yep. We look forward to immediately benefiting from their expertise and perspectives as we navigate the evolving gaming and retail environments, execute on our strategic initiatives, and prepare the company to maximize value creation associated with the next generation of content. Yeah, whatever. GameStop CEO. Yeah. During his time as a Nintendo of America president, Fizame saw the launches of several successful and innovative platforms, including the Wii, Nintendo 3DS, and Nintendo's current hot seller, the Switch. Yep. I wonder what the comment section says about this. I actually have not seen a lot of commentary on this. Let's see. I'm sure Review Tech USA made a video about it. I hate Rich of Review Tech USA. Just a disclaimer, but I want to see what his comment section says. Will he be angry that... Yep. Reggie Fizame body has been hired by GameStop. Okay. What's his comment section like?
Sometimes real life is stranger than fiction, man.
That's a good way to put it.
To you by Satisfy Gaming, and they're also
Hang on, let's get the ad.
Gaming grip for the third-year order. Link below in the description.
I do this with all ads, by the way. Fuck these in-video advertisements. I don't care. I'm not watching them. I'm not buying your product. I don't care. Just, ugh.
Hey, Rev, you're talking about me?
This is one of the interesting things about my YouTube channel, by the way. I am essentially my own sponsor since I'm, like, literally selling my own books on stream. So, yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Jumping on stories? You're talking about me jumping on stories? That story about next-gen consoles I actually hung on to. This story about Reggie Fizame, I got it in like 5 minutes. I saw like 20 channels I'm subscribed to had videos uploaded on it. You think I'm fast? Wow. Like, I needed time to digest this, man. I didn't know how to feel about it at first. I didn't know what could be the outcome. So I sat there and thought, and as I'm thinking, I see like 6 billion videos in my...
Yeah, Rich is not very interesting to listen to. They hired him just so he can tell GameStop they're going out of business. Yeah, I mostly come for the comment section. GameStop, what you got for us? Reggie, here's a TV that looks like an apple. My guess is that this is a passion project for him. He's trying to save them because of his love for games. I doubt that very much. He's just... I don't know what his logic behind this is, because I don't think he needs the money. His body was hired, yes, but is it even ready? Buy all at GameStop, demolish all establishments, make them all Nintendo World Stores. The Grandmaster plan. Maybe he will single-handedly lift the company out of poverty. Man, I don't know what it is, but Review Tech USA's comment section are hilarious. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, he's just so easy to make fun of. So yeah, that is a thing. Reggie Fizame is being hired by GameStop. We're not sure exactly. Again, we don't know what his plans are, what he's going to do, what changes he's going to make. maybe he could save GameStop. Who knows? I guess this is the moment where the gaming community sees what Reggie can do on his own, unsupervised by Satoru Iwata and the upper management at Nintendo. So we'll have to see how the situation develops. I expect. I guess I can give you my prediction of what's going to happen. I expect that GameStop is on the way out anyway. I don't think there's any recovery. People aren't going to want to go to their stores to hang out. Like, GameStop is just pure trash. GameStop is just super, super unpopular with gamers. They have no reason to continue to exist, and I don't think rebranding is really, really going to work out for them. I don't think there's any real demand or interest in an internet cafe, like, where you can play games. I don't think there's any interest in that. Like, I myself don't go out that much because I'm working and I'm coming home and I'm trying to avoid the coronavirus. That's another thing. The coronavirus. Should I actually say that on stream, or is YouTube not going to like that? It's news. I'm not sharing any theories on it. It's going to impact a lot of these touristy things, a lot of these outgoing things, like leaving the house sort of things, like anything outside, essentially. You're not going to want to touch or do anything with because, what if you, again, what if the Wu flu has been here? I don't want to be beaten by the Kung flu, like, no, we don't want that. So again, this has majorly affect. This has majorly affected like manufacturing and international travel, and it's coming locally. Like, it's everywhere right now. Like, people I know are panicking about it. Like, not the people who, people I know are panicking about it. Like, we know it's here. It's just unbelievable. Yeah, thanks a lot, America, for not shutting down our borders, not, like, stopping this thing before it entered the country. Like, real great job there. There was nothing we could do. Yeah, sure, whatever. So, yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle for sure. I don't think it's impossible for Reggie to turn it around, but going by how terrible GameStop is doing right now, and its history, I don't see them lasting much longer. I will be very, very glad to see them step out for good. And I don't, Reggie, what does a board of directors even do? Like, they might just be giving advice to the company. Like, Reggie might not be tied to the company. He might just be bored and just like, well, maybe I could like put my executive skills to the test and try to save this dead video game retailer because I have nothing else going on. He used to work 20 hours a day, so he's probably like bored out of his mind and just waiting for Animal Crossing like the rest of us. Oh, that's his logic. He wants to be a GameStop employee so he can get an early copy of Animal Crossing. That makes perfect sense. Okay, it all makes sense now. Okay, never mind. Crisis averted. Oh boy. Oh wow, lots of. Yeah. What's up, man? We allowed to clip your videos to share? Sure. I don't mind. People will do it anyway. It's not a big deal. Like, Video Game Lover 58, like, buys and reads my book on stream. Something that I could actually copyright claim him for. I think that's the word. Some kind of takedown. I'm not sure. There are different kinds of takedowns. I can technically take him down for that, and I haven't done it. So, yeah, sure, go ahead. I don't really care. I still go for the box. Coronavirus probably will end some businesses. Digital sales popular. Yeah, we'll have to see how this thing escalates. Really, really concerned. I still go for the box versions of games. Switch does let people move files to hard drives. Yep. Reggie is Anakin. Lol. So Nintendo is Obi-Wan in this situation. Yep. I hate stickers on pre-out. Yes! That is the reason I stopped buying at GameStop. The fucking stickers. Like, it's just, they're so obnoxious. They're so ugly. I don't like looking at them. They ruin, like, perfectly good video game cases. Like, my copy of Resident Evil 4 Wii, I think I have it sitting out on my shelf. I think I was planning on replaying it. It has, like, a lot of stuff on it. It's just unreal. My local game store, that's, I believe, locally owned, I'm not really sure what their situation is, they have much less obnoxious stickers. My copy of Pandora's Tower, which is a gorgeous game, by the way. Oh, I might as well show that off now. I keep meaning to show it off, but it's my most beautiful gaming icon, I think. Let me see here. Yeah, I haven't looked at this in a long time. Did the colors fade? I think they did. How did they fade? Okay, so Pandora's Tower. I believe this is a collector's edition. Hey, was it in the sun? Like, because it doesn't look quite right. Hang on. Yeah, I haven't looked at this in a while. I was meaning on playing it again because it's a great game. But yeah, gorgeous cover art. No obnoxious. If it was a GameStop game, if I had bought this in GameStop, like it would probably be covering this entire spot here, which I would have hated. It just, yeah, it's such a good cover, and I think it's unique. I would hate it if it was damaged. I'm not sure if it is. I remembered it having brighter colors, that's all. The artwork is still gorgeous, but I was just like, isn't it supposed to be brighter than this? I remember it being brighter than this. But yeah, I love the game. It's amazing. Great Zelda clone. Probably the best Castlevania game. Well, Castlevania-like game I've ever played. It's probably better than actual Castlevania games, to be completely honest with you. Very creepy, very out there, very unique. I highly recommend it. Amazing. Let's see. Iwata era with Miyamoto was the best Nintendo era. Yep, I agree. Yep. Review Tech lost a lot of views recently for getting political. After years of advising not to, I think he forgot his meds. Did he get political? Yeah, I've noticed his views seem like they're going down. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Like, I know he did some. I stream on DSP. I wonder how much money he makes. I have no idea what his situation is. Yeah. Yeah, so definitely interesting. All right. So, what was I going to look at? Yeah, it was Final Fantasy VII, right? I was going to... Yeah, because I haven't talked about that enough. Yeah, so... Yep, the death and decline of SquareSoft. So, this isn't another Final Fantasy VII stream. I've been talking about Final Fantasy VII a lot because, like, the remake's coming out, and it's one of the 3 games that's coming out for PS4 this year. So I'll be talking about it a lot and making fun of it a lot and acknowledging a lot. But because Final Fantasy VII is such a classic and iconic game, there are so many topics to discuss. Topics that I think most people aren't really acknowledging, in fact. I guess I could just bring up some... Yeah, I guess I could just expand my... Oh, I already did that. Okay, so you can't actually see... Okay. Make it bigger. Okay, there we go. So, Final Fantasy VII is the epitome of everything wrong with PlayStation games today, or at least for better and for worse. I think things have taken a worse as time has gone on. Like, I think everything good about Final Fantasy VII has been stripped away and completely forgotten, while everything bad has sort of been expanded and built upon and just become this entire mess. Final Fantasy VII, I think, is a really interesting game because it simultaneously marks a legitimately well-made, engaging game from talented developers that led to complete bullshit. And what I mean by that, there are a lot of really... Final Fantasy VII was the game that PlayStation owners, the PlayStation marketing team, the PlayStation Nation, I should say. Oh, it's Happy Mario Day. It's Mario Day. I should be wearing my hat. Where'd it go? Happy Mario Day, everyone. It's a great day to be talking about this. Well, I had it sitting right here for situations like this, but I must have moved it for some reason. Okay, so Final Fantasy VII, the PlayStation Nation used this one release to try and overhype and promote the PlayStation console by creating, manufacturing, and pushing this narrative that this is a video game that could never, ever, ever have happened on Nintendo. That Nintendo was holding SquareSoft back. That SquareSoft wanted to do something completely dark, completely new, very cinematic, very ambitious, and that Nintendo, Big Bad Mario, was not going to let them do it. That they were limiting them by putting their games on cartridges and putting out the N64 in its place, and it's so bizarre, right? It's so bizarre, the sheer amount of ignorance, I think, that a lot of people place on this game, or the sort of weird narratives that this game gets. Like I said in a lot of the previous streams, Final Fantasy VII is beloved for the wrong reasons. People don't appreciate it for being an RPG with great characters in a unique setting, with a really well fleshed out lore and background and great pacing, really memorable moments, engaging an engaging plot, really good combat. People don't really appreciate any of that. It's entirely the primary reason this game is so beloved was this idea that it was sticking it to Nintendo, that it was a mainstream Final Fantasy release, that Square had thrown off the shackles that Nintendo had put on them and put out something that they could never have made with Nintendo, making Sony great, really pushing this out there. What's the reality is, the reality that people don't really acknowledge or really want to admit is that SquareSoft, not Square Enix, SquareSoft died because of Final Fantasy VII. Because of their short-sighted ignorance, because of their willingness to throw away a valuable partner in Nintendo, this company went bankrupt and had to merge with another to stay afloat. That's the reality of this situation. Final Fantasy VII is directly responsible for SquareSoft going down the route it did, alienating Nintendo fans, alienating Nintendo as a company, and becoming what they are today, essentially a shell of their former selves. I consider Square Enix going to Sony no different than Rareware going to Microsoft. People don't want to admit this. I don't know why, but Final Fantasy VII was clearly not... The decision to make it PlayStation exclusive was clearly not a development decision. It was bought and paid for. It was console exclusive. In other words, Sony paid for the game to be on consoles. Be on their consoles. It had nothing to do with the N64 hardware. The reason they say it was because of the hardware, right? Because to make PlayStation look better, to justify why they would do that. The reality is they did not want to come out and admit they were paid. And if you want proof they were paid, why were these games never ported to Nintendo consoles until recently? Like, why was Final Fantasy VII, if it really was the cartridges that was the problem, why was Final Fantasy VII not immediately ported to Nintendo GameCube, like day one? Where was our Final Fantasy VIII? Where was our Final Fantasy 64? Where was our game that was custom made for Nintendo 64 hardware that could have like really emphasized the strengths of the console? Like, imagine a 4-player Final Fantasy game, like an action RPG where you play as 4 different characters. PlayStation couldn't do that, right? Like, they could have done something completely off the wall, something completely different, and yet SquareSoft, I don't think they released a single N64 game. Let me see. SquareSoft, N64. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I don't own any, I don't think. Let's see. Well, those are Square Enix games. I guess we could just... Oh, Square Enix, not SquareSoft. That's the video games. Okay. But that's SquareSoft. This is Square Enix. I want... That's a Square video games. Okay. There we go. All right. Death Trap. Let's see. Final Fantasy. Let's see. Did they release anything on... Yep. All PlayStation. Not a single N64 game. Are you seriously going to push this narrative that like, the N64 couldn't handle Final Fantasy VII? Why didn't they make other games? Like, why didn't they try other things? Why didn't they try and do this? Because they were paid. Because that was on their corporate agenda to try and promote PlayStations. They will actively say this in their investors meetings, that one of their primary purposes as a company is to sell PlayStations to people. Like, that's it. That's why all we get on Nintendo consoles are essentially ports. Like, look at all this PlayStation. Yeah, Microsoft Windows for Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, ports. PC ports for Final Fantasy games occasionally. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, they'll port games on the Wonder Swan of all things, right? Final Fantasy Wonder Swan, but not Nintendo, not Sega, not Xbox. It's just they kept doing this until the very, very end, right? When their very last game, their last game, the last SquareSoft game ever released was Final Fantasy X-2. Wow, I honestly did not know that. Wow, what a way to end off on. Wow, how embarrassing. Just unbelievable. Look at this. They were releasing PS1 games into 2002. Just, where is the Nintendo support? Like, it's not there. Like, it simply is not there. And after the Square Enix merger, we started getting, like, more stuff. Probably because Enix we know was paid for... I shouldn't say no. Enix was paid for Dragon Quest X 8 as well. So Sony did have a stake in Square Enix, and that lasted for a long time, I think, until Sony sold their stake following some financial situations. They were in severe debt and they were paying stuff off. They sold their stake in Square Enix, and now Final Fantasy is free to do more things, and they continue to support PlayStation primarily with a handful of Xbox and Nintendo ports. It's embarrassing. Final Fantasy VII fans don't want to admit, this, that SquareSoft was indeed better under Nintendo. Like, all 7 of the first 7 Final Fantasy games are classics, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like, all of those are great. Like 6, really high quality RPG, which is just as good, if not better, than 7. I would say 5 and 4 are as well. 5 especially. 5 I think is super underrated. 9 and 10 are all right, but you can kind of see like the issues starting to escalate, and like Final Fantasy 8 is just plain terrible. Like Sony's Sony's influence on the franchise was a clear boat anchor that was just dragging it down, and Square's increasing reliance on cinematics and technology to sell their games instead of making compelling gameplay or interesting mechanics. This this eventually led them to the extremely naive decision. We Final Fantasy VII was so well received, so popular because of the cinematics. We could make a Final Fantasy movie. So they took Hironobu Sakaguchi, made him direct Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. It bombed hard, and they let go of the creator of Final Fantasy. Like, Sakaguchi was let go from SquareSoft because of that situation. And Square has never been the same since. Like, they were pumping out bullshit before the Square Enix merger. Like, Final Fantasy X-2 was a terrible, terrible game. Supposedly, I still have not played it yet. Square Enix is a thing now, right? It just... Square... it's been a complete decline, is what I'm saying. Like, SquareSoft went completely downhill with under PlayStation, making all these terrible decisions, and it led to their bankruptcy within 5 years. They were begging Enix, their rival Enix, to merge with them, and they went on to do a lot of the same things. We got some ports, at least. Some old Final Fantasy games were ported to Nintendo consoles, but they still continued with their nonsense, like Final Fantasy 12, 13, the 13 trilogy, the original release of 14, Final Fantasy 15 as a whole. It's incredible. Like, Square had this entire catalog of great IPs back in the 90s. Chrono, all this stuff, right? All these legitimately great, well-received Nintendo RPGs that were slowly phased out, slowly forgotten, slowly dying under PlayStation, and nobody noticed or gave a shit. Like, on Twitter, you're always seeing people cry about, like, oh, where's my Pilot Wings? Where's my Golden Sun? Where's my 1080? Where's my Chibi Robo? Why are people not complaining about Square Enix? And Konami, to a certain extent. Where are the people complaining about these video games? It just it really does feel as if the gaming media, gaming culture is so subordinate and so slavish towards PlayStation that nobody is really willing to hold them responsible for anything. Because when you get right down to it, like, Final Fantasy VII was one good game that easily could have been done on Nintendo hardware. And since that mistake, Final Fantasy VIII was a disaster. Final Fantasy IX should have come out in GameCube. 10 should have come out in GameCube. Like, there's no justifying this attitude towards Nintendo and their hardware. It's unreal, and I think Square is just, to this day, it's seen as like the reason that third parties don't support Nintendo, because Final Fantasy VII was good by not supporting Nintendo, and I'm sure we can do that as well. When really look at Resident Evil 4, right? That was a GameCube exclusive. Like, what did the gaming community do with that one? They demanded it be ported, and Capcom did it. Like, Capcom went behind Nintendo's back and made Shinji Mikami break his promise and release this game on other platforms. It's just... these companies are reliant on PlayStation to sort of baby them and sort of keep them safe from Nintendo and its unstoppable franchises. Because when you get right down to it, this is the reason I'm against console diversity, owning more than one platform, because people aren't judging video games based on how good they are. They're judging them based on what console they own. So of course Sega fans are always going to be nostalgic towards Sega games, even though Super Nintendo games are way better because Sega fans have only played Sega games. So of course those are the ones they're going to remember and be nostalgic for and want to go back and play again. Like they don't have the same attachment to the superior Nintendo games. Whereas if all the games were on one platform and everyone could play them, it would be an equal playing field. And then suddenly we would stop seeing this nonsense rivalry between different video game franchises. There wouldn't be such a big rivalry. There wouldn't be such adamant dick sucking for Devil May Cry, for example, because people would know Ninja Gaiden is better, Bayonetta is better, God Hand is better. Like, console diversity doesn't help people find better games. It's just everything should just come out on Nintendo, no exceptions, all the time. It's so frustrating to continue seeing people justifying this, justifying Final Fantasy VII not being on Nintendo for such a long time. Like, 13 years, right? Oh, wait, it was longer than that. 23 years. Wait, no, yeah, 23 years. Oh, no, it came out. When did it come out? 2019? 20 years at least, right? 20 years it took for us to get this game when it really should have come out on the DS or something similar. Like something. The remake should have been a Nintendo game. That would have gotten people hyped. That probably would have done better than the remake now is going to be. Let's look. Final Fantasy... Nintendo DS sales. The DS remake... The DS remakes of Final Fantasy actually did fairly well. I'm not sure how well. $10 Mario Kart DS. Let me see. Let's see. I thought they did. Maybe I'm misremembering here. Yeah, Final Fantasy 3, 2 million. Yeah, that's not bad at all. And I think Final Fantasy 4 did more than that. I mean, that's not bad at all, right? 2 million sold. Just release. Oof. Just release the games like that. That's all. The only reason you're struggling to find an audience on Nintendo platforms, or the reason why there's no audience on Nintendo hardware, it's because you never supported us. You never supported them. You never built up your audience, and it just. And in spite of all of that, people are still buying Final Fantasy on Switch. Like, I bought World of Final Fantasy. I bought Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition. I bought Final Fantasy 7, 9. I bought 10 and 10 too. Like, I am a Final Fantasy fan on Nintendo hardware. Where are my Final Fantasy games? Where are the ports of this first 6 games? Like, where are the new Final Fantasy games? Like, why... Where is Final Fantasy VII Remake? Why is that not getting a Switch version? Like, there's truly no justifying Final Fantasy VII, Square Enix, and their attitude towards Nintendo platforms. I think it's rather despicable and needs to be addressed more. It's definitely a good step forward to have Final Fantasy VII on Switch, and I hope fans continue to support that version of the game and only buy it on Nintendo platforms going forward. Understand that Final Fantasy VII Switch is the definitive version of the game. So, better than the remake for sure. Holy shit. Let me see here. Yep. Yeah, SquareSoft has become a complete disaster, a complete shell of its former self, and it really needs to be acknowledged more among fans. What do they ever released? Like, at this point, like, I know of 2 games they're making this year, both of which are remakes. Complete disaster. Complete disaster. All right, so I think that's everything. I already wished everyone a happy Mario Day. I was going to talk about my favorite Mario games, but I'm kind of anxious to get back to Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. So, yes. Let's see here. Is there any other news? Is there any other NeoGaf. Yep. I think that's everything. All right. Oof. Doom Eternal delayed to, let's see, how is Final Fantasy VII Remake going to be released? Yeah, people are not happy. I guess we can read this. I don't think there's any more gaming news. I talked about everything I wanted to talk about. So essentially, the conspiracy theory that Square was it's clearly, let's see. Yep, there's nothing else to do except wait for Animal Crossing. Another 10 days, and then the next Nintendo Direct. E3 is in 3 months, so I'm starting to think we might not actually get one, which is going to be very, very surreal. Oh no, I have Corona. Anyway, yeah, so Final Fantasy, Square Nintendo over the past couple of years has essentially replaced SquareSoft. They have their like own RPG teams that are making better RPGs, to be completely honest with you, than SquareSoft has in years. Square Enix has in years, and they're on their way to doing the same with open world games and shooters. I really do think it's just a matter of having a couple of more great open world games and a couple of more great online shooters on Switch before the audience for those games start migrating over as well. Once that happens, the Xbox and PlayStation isn't going to have shit. Like all they have are like these established franchises, the brand recognition, and the blind fanboyism of their audience that has never played a Nintendo game. There's no denying it that Nintendo is the leader in the industry, the console leader of the industry, and I don't expect that to go away anytime soon, and I cannot wait for the next Nintendo Direct. I will see you all next time. Please like, comment, subscribe,